Disclaimer. We are two regular guys who love to talk Bone Thugs and Harmony. We do not represent Bone Thugs or any Bone affiliate. We are also not Bone Thugs experts. The views and information you hear in this podcast may be based on personal opinion. Please feel free to leave corrections and clarifying information in the comments. And enjoy.
Straight off the motherfucking internet. Two true hosts talking about the double Glock. Cecil, Johnny. Kick that shit, Feenics.
Beyond the harmony for the fans, we celebrate. Uploading new videos every Thursday, so join us. Beyond the harmony for the fans, we celebrate. Uploading new videos every Thursday, so join us. Beyond the harmony for the fans, we celebrate. Uploading new videos every Thursday, so join us. Beyond the harmony for the fans, we celebrate. Uploading new videos every Thursday, so join us.
Now let's welcome to the doors back, folks, and get in the podcast.
Again, we've been jumping all over the place, but you know, your story is so huge that we're just gonna have to do it that way. When you just brought up Archie, you know, that was a question that we had. We see Archie, you know, he was involved with the Faces of Death project. He continued to be later involved with like Mo Thugs and Too True. Same situation with Bobby Jones, who also, you know, produced on Bone Enterprise and later from Mo Thugs. Who brought like Archie and Bobby into the Faces of Death project? Was that Bone, or was that, you know, you or somebody with Stony Brook? Like, who brought those guys?
That was us. That was us. That was me and Bone, because like these was people we was fucking with already, like as you know, you was coming up and learning about this studio or that studio or whatever. And so Archie always had his studio and everybody knew about it or whatever. And like, I think they was fucking with Archie before me though. They definitely was fucking with Archie before me. So they, like I knew of Archie and knew Archie, but I had never recorded with Archie at the time. So they went in Archie's studio, and actually that's where they probably started doing their first demos and shit at. And then like, Bobby worked at Quick Studio and another studio at the time. A funny story about Bobby, I remember one night a fight broke out in there, and I ain't gonna say I remember who was fighting or whatever, but I remember, you know, I was basically their liaison and A&R or whatever and everything. So they called me like, get up to the studio, and I go up there and Bobby got the Bible up on the board, and he's like, I ain't recording these niggas no more. Like, boom, like he was scared, like he seen the fucking ghost or something. And like, you know, there was a lot of mystique and shit like that going on with them. Like some of the shit I don't know, man. Like some of that Weezy shit, all that shit, I don't know. But I just know motherfuckers was not having it. Some motherfuckers were scared and everything. So, but you know. Yeah, that's. I mean, but then you know, I don't anything with my thug, and after that shit, I don't know nothing about that shit. All I know is about leading up to that, and then 2010 when we reunited for the 40 city tour and shit for a minute and everything. But anything while they was on and popping, I was not there to witness none of that shit.
You had mentioned you know, like Archie's there, Bobby's there. You still see Soulja Boy. Were any, and like even I think like Boogie Nike is like he shouted out not only in the notes, but I think on a song. Were any of the, you know, the Mo Thugs, that the guys that became Mo Thugs, were any of them around during the recording, or like were any of them involved with Stony Brook or anything at any point?
No, they was all our dudes. And you know, little brothers and cousins and everybody in the hood. It was everybody who grew up from, like, I'm gonna say, fucking 88% Clair to like 105 St. Clair. Like that little hub, they call it the wasteland. You know, our neighborhood, the most dangerous 10 blocks in Ohio. That was everybody. You know what I mean? That was just everybody. You know what I mean? The whole neighborhood. Like,
when they formed Mo Thugs? Go ahead.
Say what?
Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, like, you know, None of them was involved in the recording that we did. Everybody was like the B team, I'm gonna say, like the D League, like waiting in the wings, and just people we fuck with in the streets. And people was believing in me and believing in them, and people was aligning themselves and shit.
When they officially formed, and we're jumping forward a little bit, but while we're talking about Mo Thugs, when they officially formed Mo Thugs, which is now years removed, of course, from Faces of Death, Stony Brook, all that, was there any talk of you joining Mo Thugs?
Man, it was crazy because so they would call me from California, from various places, and they'd be like, "Oh yeah, chill, we about to be on, man. It's on and popping, like, come on." Or the last particular time, they was like, "Come on here, to help us get these contracts together or whatever." So I go out there, and then it was like everywhere they was fucking supposed to be, it was like they wasn't, and then like nobody's answering the phone and all kind of shit. And it's like, so I get to there's one club where they were supposed to perform in, and I see the flyers, and the shit say Bone Thugs and Harmony, and I'm like, what? Like, who the fuck is? I'm like, wait a minute. I see Bone, you know what I'm saying, but I'm confused a little bit. Like, Thugs and Harmony, who is that? You know what I'm saying? Oh. But yeah, it was all kind of talk. Like everything was all good up to the day they shot Thuggish Ruckus, and then that's when I knew it was like a problem. So like when they shot Thuggish Ruckus, I told you I always had my business together. So like I was probably like, what year did they shoot Thuggish Ruckus? And I know how old I was. Shit.
And Thuggish Ruckus would have been like 94.
Right. So boom, I had to be like 21 or some shit. So I had a little ice cream, Polish boys, and hot dogs and wing spot on 96 in St. Clair. And then so I had a little dude grew up on 88 working with me. He was like 13. I had him like running the store and shit. You would just walk up to the window and get whatever you wanted or whatever. So they pulled up, and then bam, they come in like, damn, Chill, you got a fucking store and shit. Like, I'm like, man, yeah. I'm like, man, fuck this store we on though. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking about this music shit. We all about to shoot a video and shit. Like, y'all talking about a fuck ass store. Fuck this store. I'm like, you know what I mean? Boom. They're like, yeah, man, boom, come over. We about to shoot a video and, all this and that. So I'm like, all right. I'm like, so, somebody had got shot doing that video too. So it was like a lot of shit going on that day. And then plus the fact it was like 1,000 people out there, and I'm making like more money than ever, like at this little store and shit. So I'm like, all right, we're going to shut down at 6 o'clock and go meet them for the video. So they were supposed to be on 96 on the other end by then. So my little dude called his mom and begged her, like, can I go to the video shoot? I'm like, she's like, oh, it's going to be trouble. I heard somebody got shot. I'm like, are you going to be with me? Everything going to be cool. So at the time, like I said, I had like a couple little cars and shit. So I jump in the little Mustang with the T-tops and Dayton's and shit. And we drive around there. And then as soon as I pull up, like a big dude walk up. Well, no, I'm fucking the story up. So earlier that day, I ain't gonna say his name because he passed away now. That was my dude anyway. But he came up to me, starting some shit like, Chill, I heard you shot a video in L.A. talking about you ain't even from Cleveland, like you from L.A. and all this shit. And I'm like, what, man? I'm like, man, come on, nigga, I ain't even got a video. You on some trash right now. Like, well, I'm like, I kind of like dismissed it, and he ain't swinging or nothing, so it was just like whatever. But then, boom, later on, and the dude got shot. Then we drove over there. So as soon as we drive over there, big dude walk up to the car. And like I say, it's a T-top, so I could see he's strapped and shit. He's like, I get ready to get out, and he like kind of blocked the door and like, Chill, I heard you stole some lyrics from somebody or something, whatever. I'm like, what? Like all this, it was like a bunch of bullshit, like all day, like kind of like when you in elementary and somebody be like, man, I heard you said something about my mama, so like, or some bullshit just when they want to fight you type shit. So I'm like, what the fuck? Like, oh. So he pulled a gun, and then so I just gun the fucking Mustang and spin it around on his ass and take off because, you know, I got a little dude in the car and shit. I'm like, damn, like, boom. But then I ain't see him from there. From there on, I ain't see him for like 2 years. I just saw him on fucking TV. Like, damn, you know. And the whole time I'm holding copyrights and trademarks and all kind of shit. I could have been a hater and everything, but I ain't never was no hater, and I ain't never want to see them boys nothing but fucking make it. So, of course, I ain't never sue them or no trash like that. I just said, figure, I'm like, I'm old school. You don't want to fuck with me, I don't want to fuck with you.
You had mentioned owning, you know, trademarks, copyrights, things like that. You know, you've sent us both, me and John both, a picture of the Masters DAT tapes of Faces of Death. Is that something that you still have, or are you the only person in possession of like those masters at this point?
Oh yeah, I mean definitely, they are one of a kind, the only ones in existence.
That's like,
wow.
That's like the crazy, the ultimate bone relic, the ultimate.
Yeah.
You have the ultimate piece right there.
I'll say that I don't know if you're aware or not, Chris, you know, but collecting in the Bone world is like a fucking huge thing. Like Bone fans collect every CD and they collect multiple versions. You know, they know how many versions of Faces of Death that existed. But for you to own the masters of Faces of Death, that's like the ultimate collecting piece. One of the questions that we had along with owning the masters is, you know, at this point we've seen Stony Brook, they've re-released this record a few times. Even most recently, Lazy Bone re-released Faces of Death. Is it clear who really owns that album? Like, is there a clear ownership, or is that just kind of up in the air?
Well, I mean, according to like documents, I own this shit because when so like later on, Archie and Dan Levine, who was like top entertainment lawyer, you know, they got at me about some shit, you know, with Kermit owed me and shit, and we actually did sue Kermit ass. But I mean, it's probably non-disclosure, but I'm sure it's probably over there now. But anyway, bottom line, when we came out of that fucking court, I owned all that shit. That's how I got that shit. That's how I got the masters and all that shit right now. So
wow.
The reason everybody probably re-releasing this shit because they know I ain't doing shit about the shit. Basically, like that's how that shit works. Because they probably figured, fuck it, like he ain't saying shit, he ain't salty about it or whatever. But they can all send me a fucking check if they want.
Wow, that's crazy because you know, we know that 93 Faces of Death obviously came out. 95 we saw a reissue of the same, you know, yellow cover, and then we even saw a remaster come out, you know, later that year. Were you involved?
And then you notice my name is dropped off of one of them as executive producer.
Were you involved at all? I mean, obviously not with the one that dropped, which I assume is the red covered remaster with the new cover. At what point were you out of the fold with Stony Brook and stuff? Was that 95? Were you still with them, or were you out by then?
I'm gonna say, I mean, when everything after Bomb, then yeah, I was gone because at that point, I think Kermit just redirected everything because you already know he was in go mode at that point. Like shit, we gotta eat type shit. You know, the same group that he was basically, you know what I'm saying, not even paying attention to at one point. Now he totally fucking focused because they eating, you know what I'm saying? So, which of course, that was smart business. So at that point, you know, I was already, like, I'm going to say the year before that, we was already in the streets again, and we had already stopped fucking with Kermit for like a year anyway, before they even left for L.A. So, yeah, we was definitely not fucking with them by then.
Wow. Do you remember about the time when they were signed to Ruthless and Faces of Death got re-released in Cleveland? Was it then a very successful project? I mean, do you think that Kermit cleaned up on that, or did it still not do well because people still just wanted the new Bone shit?
Well, I mean, we had to check official numbers. I don't know. Like, shit, I'm sure he ate off that shit. I mean, how could you not at least sell at least 500,000 or whatever of that? You know what I mean? Like, they were so hot at the time, you already know. I mean, we're talking about one of the biggest rap groups of history. So, I mean, I'm sure he ate off that shit, like, period. Like, yeah. I mean, to the point I need to probably call my lawyer, huh? No, but, like, for real, I mean, he re-released. I mean, you ain't gonna keep re-releasing the shit unless you eating off the shit.
Yeah. There's a member of the Beyond the Harmony Facebook group named Michael Peters, and he's been a Bone fan and part of the Bone community for well over a decade, I'd say, probably. And he wanted to know if you owning the masters, or at least the DAT, we just confirmed that you actually own the masters, but with it in your possession rather, have you ever considered re-releasing it with like the unedited version of Flow Motion and Everyday Thing? Because no one's ever been able to do that. Fan edits have cleaned them up, but it's not the true version, and he says that would be the only re-release worth buying at this point, is if somebody could do that.
I mean, shit, everything's an option. I mean, I'm gonna say, like, I got a briefcase full of shit, all the pictures, everything. I'm gonna just say, like, the shit is like way priceless to me on the historical point, because for whatever reason, like, so many people done try to write me out of this motherfucking book that is like, I keep that shit just so my own, I always remember, and I always know what I really did, what part that I played in the history of not only Bone, but just Cleveland hip-hop. Every city love their own, their own traditions and histories and shit. And, like, a lot of motherfuckers don't want to admit it, but, the truth is what it is. Like, I got a big fucking part of the history of Cleveland, you know what I mean? So I keep that shit for, my own little, I guess, memories or whatnot. But I'm gonna say, everything's an option. Shit, I mean, I'm never opposed to making money, and, like, at the same time, like, if I hang on to shit for my kids to go to college off of or whatever, then maybe that's what I'll do with some of this shit. But regardless, I'm never opposed to listening to, any kind of good, smart business proposal.
Yeah, hell yeah. Yeah, and I just want to follow up and say that that's part of why we're doing this interview, is to make sure that K-Chill is part of this story, because we felt that you were such a pivotal piece of this, and that, it wasn't being talked about. I will say, in case you didn't see it, Crazy Bone in a recent interview did talk about you. He gave you a lot of props. Said that you were really, the one making noise in Cleveland. So I will say, recently, Crazy Bone was showing you a lot of love. But it was important for us as well to make sure that the K-Chill story is told. When you were saying that you had all these, like I heard a briefcase full of pictures and stuff. Brandon Barlett from the Beyond the Harmony Facebook group wanted to know, do you know in 93 roughly, like, how many copies of Faces of Death were printed out? Like, do you think Kermit went big with that? Was that a big number, or did he kind of start all the new artists off with, like, a small amount of copies? Like, was anybody worth the risk?
Yeah, I mean, no doubt. I think I'm gonna say, and like I said, I was there for all of this shit. Like, I basically had got that album printed and the album cover artwork done and everything, and they hated it, by the way. That probably was another thing. They probably was sorry about that, but shit, like, I think at the time, like, 2 of them was in jail, and it was just, like, all kind of crazy shit, and they just, like, I know they just kept saying they wanted a Grim Reaper on there or some shit, and so we just kind of put it together the best way we could. I had somebody draw that picture, and then I think it was, like, super fucking simple. Like, we just put it on a copier or some shit where they cut out of their picture on it and, like, kind of superimpose it or whatever. But I'm gonna say I think I remember Kermit starting everybody with 5,000 CDs and
Wow.
cassettes.
That's
Once you got down to like 1,000, he'll reorder, and then like on my shit, I think he was ordering way more, but that's only because it was like proven at the time. But like all the new shit, it was like 5. I think even when I first started with Kermit, it was like 5 until my shit started moving.
wow. That's awesome. And you said the big, I like that you mentioned the big Grim Reaper and that you were in charge of putting that whole thing together. I know you're credited as doing the layout. A person that I actually briefly spoke to recently was Jason Bibb, who actually got to do the drawing of the Grim Reaper. Was it him or was it you that decided the yellow, or who went with that yellow theme? Because that yellow, that bright yellow, just stands out to like every Bone fan.
You said Jason drew that?
Jason Bibb.
He drew that Grim Reaper?
Yeah, Jason said that he was the one that drew that Grim Reaper for the cover.
Oh yeah, okay. I couldn't remember who the fuck drew that Grim Reaper, but it probably was. I can't say it was. I honestly, God, I can't even remember who drew it, but yeah, it had to be him. It basically was the painting, was the drawing that he gave us. So the background had to be yellow, cause I ain't do nothing fancy, but take that shit to like Kinko's or something and put. Like I had a picture of them. I got those pictures, the originals, right now in a fucking briefcase.
Wow.
I think I actually printed the picture and then took like a razor blade and like cut they silhouettes out and then just like put it back on the printer over the picture of the fucking Grim Reaper. But when I tell you they fucking hated that shit, that was probably like K-Chill strike number 2 right there. They was fucking salty. When I tell you they was fucking salty about that shit, like, chill, what the fuck is this shit? Like, I'm like, man, look, Kermit said, hurry up and get this shit done. Y'all niggas said Grim Reaper. Like, get a picture of a Grim Reaper, Drew. I'm like, shit, you know what I mean? We was pressed for time, all that. Like, at the time, for real, like, who knew anything about fucking CD cover layout? You know what I'm saying? Like, so not to be making excuses and shit, because the shit was funny as fuck and kind of like wow. But at the end of the day, it turned out to be a classic. Like people always talk about that fucking Grim Reaper and shit. So, at the end of the day, like knowing what I know now, I would have just took that picture and put it on a fucking midnight background or sky or some shit. It probably would have looked way cooler or something. But shit, they approved their pictures. They approved that Grim Reaper picture. Somebody did. And then next thing you know, they was married together, and then they fucking hated that shit.
Hey, I think for the time period and the fucking resources you had, you did a great job.
Thank you.
It wasn't 2018. Exactly. It was you probably put that together in late '92 or early '93.
Shout out Kinko's on Euclid. That's where I can remember. That's where the fuck we went, and I swear I put that. It probably took me like an hour to figure that shit out and put it together like that or whatever. So, yeah, we was doing whatever. We was doing the best we fucking could. There was no computer graphics back then and all that shit. So, it was what it was. But, hey, nobody will ever forget it.
Hell no. That's a great story, too. Do you remember who decided to call it Faces of Death? Was that like a label move or was that a Bone move?
Who did what?
Do you remember who decided to call the album Faces of Death? Was that like the label or was that Bone? Who came up with that?
Man, I'm sure it had to be the Bone because already Anna be calling herself Leatherface and shit, and they used to be. I mean, we grew up off all that Faces of Death and Texas Chainsaw. They used to actually be fucking playing with that Ouija board and shit, like, and that's one thing I'm gonna say. I never fucked with them with that Ouija board, none of that shit. Like, I was always just, these, like I said, these is my dudes and shit, and we roll, and we would ride or die for each other. But it was like I always was chill, and they always was bomb.
Wow, and it's crazy that you didn't play with the Ouija board. So many people, historically connected to Bone will tell you that they. The ones that ended up, Mo Thugs and things like that will tell you that they played with that Ouija board. So I think it's a real big deal that K Chill didn't fuck with that Ouija board at all.
Did not. And not to mention like this real shit. Like people will people come out as artists and shit and everything, and it's a lot of act. That's why they call them an act. You know what I mean? Because it's entertainment or whatever. But there's a lot of that shit was like from that Bobby Jones situation to they literally used to be trying to get me to come right in the graveyard and shit, and I'll be like, "Oh, fucking crazy." And we just link back up the next day, play video games, smoke weed, kick it, and all that. Drink 40s or whatever, but like all that Ouija and graveyard shit and all that shit, they know they can miss me with that shit. They know I was never on that shit. And yeah, that is ironic that I'm the one motherfucker that was still on St. Clair while they was all over the world with this shit, because I did not fucking fuck with that shit. So, I will say my soul is very intact.
Was that any? Do you think that might have hurt them initially, as far as like the content, the songs like Hell Sent, Faces of Death, The Grim Reaper, The Rumors of the Ouija Board? Like, I mean, before they're famous, and that's just like what's going around Cleveland. Do you think that was offensive to people, that evil possession that they almost had?
Well, I mean, if you like, you listen to the bars for bars, like a lot of times, something sound evil, but it ain't really evil. But yeah, I'm gonna say like probably like, in our neighborhood, everybody fucked with him because everybody knew him anyway. So we, everybody liked the shit. Everybody knew the album was hot. If you listen to the flow, they was on that weird, almost what they doing, kind of Das Effectus type, Fushnickety type shit, sometimes, and it was like people, it was a little weird, kind of different, but at the same time, people fucked with it. You know what I mean? People really fucked with it. I'm gonna say like this though, there was some shit on our end we could have did better to help that album sell, like attaching them to more of my tour, or even with my shit, we could have all our projects at that time could have been mixed and mastered way better. But these are things, like I say, we all fucking was kind of learning together. Like the engineers in the studios, not the A studios, but I'm gonna say the B studios or the C studios that we had access to. They ain't really know how to mix that hip hop shit. Like I had shit songs with bass so crazy on this fucking song, it'll tear your speakers up and all kind of shit. Like, so none of this shit was mixed and mastered accurately and all that shit. But I'm gonna say on the whole, besides coming back with adding the singing on it and everything, it still was bomb. So, I don't hold the city guilty for that shit, because that's just like anything. Like you come back with Easy, or in today's world, if you come back Kanye, Jay-Z, or somebody supporting you, you're gonna blow. Versus even K Chill, me vouching for you back then could be a double-edged sword, because I was in the middle of battle rappers type shit in the beginning of like the gangster era. So I had my own whole 50-50 split with people who loved and hated me. I just had enough people who fucked with me that, I sold a lot of records. At the same time, I recall people who couldn't stand my shit. Like, I don't fuck with K-Chill, you know what I mean? So, that's how that shit worked. But, bottom line, when the time from Faces of Death to the time to, they come back with Easy, like, I'm going to say they improved, but they were still relatively the same fucking group.
When I was looking at some of the pictures you sent us, Chris, and and looking at the DAT tape, it says 9/11/92. Was that the day that the Faces of Death album was completed?
Man, you asking me some shit that I can't give you an honest answer, because that shit just too fucking long ago. But I'm sure it probably would. You say that's on the back of the Faces of Death?
No, that's actually the picture you sent me of the master, the DAT master.
Oh
says
then that's what that is. That's the date. Wow, that's crazy. I never fucking knew that it was 9/11. That's crazy. Yeah, that's definitely gonna be the day we walked out, because that'll be when I write. That's my handwriting on them shits and everything. So like that's probably when we wrapped up and walked out of the studio. Shit done. Look at the date, bro. I'm up. So yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's a huge, John and I both believe a lot in numerology and things like that.
That shit follows me. That shit follows me every day of my life to this day. Like I see numbers and different shit all day. Like that just mean shit to me and don't mean shit to me, and just boom. So like I believe in all that shit too. So that. And I tell you what's fucking crazy now that you telling me this shit. When after all that shit went down, and I was kind of just on 94th and St. Clair trying to figure out what the fuck I was gonna do next and all that shit. And then my little dudes, they like nobody in the hood had never let me die. They be trying to get me to rap today, like go in the studio. Like I actually been in the studio recently, but like when we my next move after Bomb blew up and all that was like we basically started Black Money, or we started what was the beginning of Black Money, which was a group called The Foundation. And ironically, that CD released on the real 9/11, because I'll never forget 9/11. No shit, I'll never forget this shit as long as I live. When I woke up that morning, came up out of my mother's basement, my grandmother's basement, and boy, I got the phone call that bam, chill, the CD's done. And then my guy LeBron, not LeBron James, but another famous LeBron from Cleveland, brought the CDs to my house. I had like 1,000 CDs that I ordered, and I carried that box in the house and sat down and saw it. I mean, when I walked back in the house, I saw the news, and I sat down on the damn cocktail table and saw the second plane hit. So that's crazy. That's crazy. You fucking me up right now with that.
Yeah, it's always stuck out. Since we got that photo from you, people always talk in the Bone world about the dates they released everything like that. But when John and I got that photo and we saw that it was 9/11, and to know what that date means to people, and even people remember, like you have that story. So to know that on 9/11, you guys were wrapping up Faces of Death, it's almost an eerie thing, especially given the content of who Bone is. You had mentioned Black Money.
Let me tell you before you get to that, because you just put me on to something, and I just don't want to not mention it. But a lot of people have told me weird shit, like look at like, man, look at our whole class from that school that everybody went on to do like big things and different shit or whatever, and it's like even like the numbers. And so you got, like, for example, like Bomb, me, there's another group called Midwest Mafia that won like Ohio Hip Hop Awards, I forgot what they call it, Legends Award or some shit or whatever. But like by the way, which I never have won yet, Ohio Hip Hop Awards, but whatever. This goes back to more motherfuckers don't want to give me my due on this shit, but whatever. But I was saying about the numbers and shit, like when it's like, man, if you believe in shit like that or whatever, and you can see like the different shit that have happened in the lives of like us and a few more of us that was in that school, in that class, whatever. It's just like, I don't know, man. Like somebody told me this shit before, though. Like, if anybody can get access to my old music or some of this shit, And it took somebody that was in the know and to really bring this to my attention one time, and it just fucked my head up. But man, on a lot of these songs that we recorded early, man, we was prophesizing on these songs, man. Like, it's so crazy because you never want to think nothing like that, like, damn. But I swear, like, you listen to some old K Chill shit, you listen to some old Bomb shit, and you will hear us talking about events that ain't even happened yet. Like, and that shit is kind of eerie, though, with the Ouija shit and the graveyard shit and all that. And, like, the whole fact I didn't go to the graveyard, I didn't play with the Ouija, and, like, the whole, even to this day, you know, but anyway, yeah, the shit is crazy, man.
I think, you know, a question that we were not sure if we were going to ask, and it's actually on my second page. You had said in your song Cisco Kid that you remember being born. You remember your birth. Was that just a line, or is that a true thing?
Man, it's crazy because I have, like, memories that's so vivid of things that it's like I have a like, Lazy got the best memory of everybody. Like, when I tell you this guy got a fucking incredible memory, Lazy remember rhymes that I wrote for him. And you know how long ago that got to be, you know what I mean? Like, and I'm saying he'll recite them word by word, and I can't even fucking remember them. But I do have, like, real vivid memories that seem like dreams because I shouldn't be able to remember. You know what I mean? So, like, I might not remember somebody I met on tour in '97, but I remember fucking some shit that happened at, like, 1, 2 years old, or a vivid dumbass dream about, like, being born, or, like, shit's just crazy. Shit's just crazy. But, I mean, that's just, like, a whole other thing, man. That don't got nothing to do with this shit, but, like, I mean, all that, it's like sometimes, you know, if you believe in being favored or blessed, it's weird. Like, I got really in tune. It's like I just told you how, like, I wish I could have been more in tune with how they probably was feeling during the time I was, you know, selling records and all that shit. But it's funny, like, that was really dramatic what happened with me and my dudes. But, like, ever since then and now, like, man, if I know you and you really my friend, you can't never tell me everything cool when it ain't, or I pick up on vibes of people so good now, like, it's incredible. Like, so I don't know, I think we all was favored, or, you know, some kind of way. I mean, I honestly, you know, I know all that Ouija shit true and that graveyard shit true. I know it firsthand, and this shit is fucking true. But I would never front or want to believe, like, my dudes sold their souls or some shit like that, because I know that they was all good, God-fearing men with families. You know what I'm saying? I know at the end of the day, I done had people tell me, look at these boys' pictures. These ain't Steve and Stan and like, you know, these ain't you know, the dudes you grew up with. These, like, look at their eyes. You know what I mean? Their eyes look all black in the fucking picture and shit. So, you know, it's probably some Photoshop shit to make them look extra demonic or whatever. But at the end of the day, like, you know, even with what I'm doing now, I know I'm really favored and blessed. And I think the same of them. And, you know, like I said, I don't think, you know, I think that they probably was just reaching, trying any fucking thing to get on, because we was in, you know, brokest fucking city in the nation. It'd be us in Detroit every year, you know what I mean? So, you know, I ain't have, you know, a dad in the same, but my mother took great care. My mother was a businesswoman, or is a businesswoman, had her own business for 40 plus years. You know, I ain't even really had to hustle. I just hustled because, you know, shit, I was one of them too smart kids. Like, I'm not about to go to school and miss all this money every day. You know what I mean? Like, shit, I could make $500 walking to school. So I hustled on the strength, just on the fact that, shit, I wasn't going to pass up all that money. But, like, I think we blessed and favored. And I think, you know, God had his hand on, you know, maybe our neighborhood or our school or something. And I think it's all part of a bigger something that's yet to play out type shit.
Yeah, I think, when you look at the story, and like you said, not just your story, a Bone story, but people connected to you, it does seem like that. I brought that up because the co-host John believes that he remembers actually choosing his life. He also went to a school that was blessed with many athletes and musicians and people that went on to do big things. So the things that are similar are huge there, and I think that's a big part of the story. So I appreciate you sharing that with everybody. I wanted to ask, you had brought up Black Money. Black Money was a huge part of your career. Eventually, Bone has gone on. They're signed. They're doing albums. You're in Cleveland. You've started Black Money. You connect back up with Bone later on, right? Black Money goes on tour with them.
Right.
Can you tell us about that, like what year that was and like what tours and maybe like, what was going on at that time?
All right, so I'm looking at the Rebel Army Radio Award right now. It says that was a Chart Toppers Award. We got that one for like winning the most awards that year or something. That's 09, it says, on the trophy. So 09, we win all these awards locally or regionally or whatever, and then we actually doing shows. We actually started off opening for Wiz Khalifa in a few cities and shit, and then we did we was doing the local Cleveland circuit or whatever, Ohio circuit or whatnot, and they were coming to Cleveland to do the House of Blues. So don't let me lose my train of thought, but previously in the years while they was on, each one of them popped up at the house, at my mother's house, and we had private conversations and shit, and we would discuss shit and everything, and it got heated sometimes where I just like kind of like just went ham on some shit, yelling like, man, y'all fucked up, we should have been No Limit before No Limit, and just because I was cool at first, like, they'd pop up, chill, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, bro. And another one would pop up a couple months later, this and that. And then I wasn't really getting the answers that I wanted. And then so I just went ham. I think I'm going to just tell you the story. One day Flesh come over, and he just, I'm happy to see him and shit. He had just got out of jail. And I'm happy to see him, and I don't even want to talk about this rap shit right now. You know what I mean? This shit, it was just like, fuck it. I'm happy to see you. Let's just chop it up, smoke a burner, and talk about family or whatever. I wasn't even on that shit, and then he was on it. And so I just got mad and started like, man, Flesh, man, like y'all fucked it up. Like, I don't even want to hear about that shit right now. Y'all done blew it. We should have did. Y'all put all these Mo Thug niggas on. We wasn't even fucking with them niggas. Like, I just started just telling the truth about shit, how I felt, And no disrespect to my Mo Thug niggas, but just for real, it was us. Them niggas was the B team, like I said. And, I went off about that shit, so I got the shit off my chest, and I still didn't really get no answers about why they did that shit and all that shit. And, like, I done had a nigga tell me before, like, I was like they fucking, not even a sacrifice, but on some shit like without being that, like Bone. So like they left whatever. So bam, make a long story short, I'm like, I get a call from Lazy. He's like, yeah, we about to do the House of Blues. You wanna y'all? I heard y'all making some noise because so one of the members in Black Money is Crazy Bone cousin. Like I say, we just all the same neighborhood and shit. And, it's all the same families and shit. Like, so, they had been getting in touch with him, like, we making noise, whatever, Bone, with Chilled and all this. And, well, y'all open the show at the House of Blues and so we end up opening the show. We end up killing that shit. Like, when I tell you we killed that shit, so then it was like, oh, shit, y'all should just come on a tour with us. And so that's how that shit happened. So we ended up going on a what was it? I think like 40-something city tour with the Warriors in 2010.
Wow. That was a huge. I mean, that's a huge, especially with everything that had happened up to that point. That was almost a huge vindication and achievement for K Chill to finally get on that tour. Did it feel like at that point, that things were gonna go the way that you thought? Was there any talk about like Black Money joining like Mo Thugs or any of the affiliates, or was it just basically just you guys knew it was just going to be the tour?
Well, I'm gonna say like this. So the first little olive branch was when they shot I Tried with Avant, not Avant, what's his name?
Akon.
What's the guy's name? Akon, right. So when they shot that video, they came and blew down on me, and like people from the hood started telling me, "Man, Bone around there, they asking for you, whatever, bro." So I go around there, and they basically kidnapped me for like 3 days and shit, and just had me in the fucking tour bus and the fucking video shooting and fucking it's everywhere, like pictures and all kind of shit. It was just like first thing they said, they had what's his name, Steve Lobel in there, and then it was like chill, we owe you some money, don't we? Because the money they got to LA with, that shit was my money and shit. So they're like, we owe you some money, don't you? I'm like, yeah, y'all do. You know what I mean? Because I ain't seen them all collectively. I didn't see them all individually, but I ain't seen them all collectively. So they like, yeah, we owe you
Chris,
some money.
I gotta interrupt real quick. I gotta ask, are you saying the money that the bus tickets, the Eazy-E bus tickets to LA, K Chill made that happen?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
That was I mean, I guess the statute of limitations got to be up on that shit. So that was on some whole street shit. Like, that's a whole another interview. Like we was in the streets, and I had the plug or whatever, and then it was just like, they ran off on the plug, as they say in these days. And then it was a whole big to do. So then if you listen to some of their songs, they talking about this shit early on. When they say Chill better bring that weapon and step and bring on that ammunition, they talking about when this just further got us separated. It was just all kind of bullshit. Like, people told them that like me and my people came over there with guns and shoot up people with a house and shit and all kind of shit. And that shit was like so far from the truth. Cause like when they was gone, they left word with this girl named Chubby, like, to tell me that they left for LA and they was gonna try to make something happen. So it wasn't nothing but like I think like $1,800 or some shit. So I was like, whatever. All right, shit, make it happen. You know what I mean? What the fuck was I gonna say at that point when they then left word that they left? They just left me holding the bag because people was like, where the money at and all this. So I took care of the shit. It wasn't really no big deal, but it was like, that's what happened. Though.
Wow, that's crazy stuff, man. You are letting some big stuff out there.
A whole movie, man. That shit is a whole movie. Trust me, because it got deep. Like I said, they said we came over there shooting up shit and all kind of shit, but like that was just some hood rumors or some bullshit. Because none of that shit was true. Like, I called my people and said they ran off. My people said, all right, gave me some time to get the money together, and that's all how the shit went down. But when that shit happened though later on, that was the first olive branch with the Akon video. But then when they came, like I said, the House of Blues, we rocked that shit. They invited us on a tour. I kind of knew. So my Black Money guys were super excited. So basically the tour started off in the East, and it was kind of, New York, Boston, all that shit up in the East. And we was doing good, but we wasn't doing how I know we could have did. So I remember coming off the stage in New York, and the vice president of Warner Brothers like, Chill, what's up? Why you got that look? Like, we ain't really rocked that shit how we should have rocked it, man. He's like, man, this fucking New York City, the whole reason they ain't boo your ass off the stage, that's respect right there. They ain't never heard y'all songs. They sat there and listened to y'all for 20 minutes. So I'm like, I
Yeah.
looked at it like that, and then when he said that, it kind of struck a chord. Like, yeah, that's what it is. So I went home. We left the tour for like a day or two. We went home, went to the studio. I shortened the show tape to like 13 minutes. I started with the more faster shit and all that. And then when we got right back on the tour, like, then we started rocking. Then we went to the South, and then it really started rocking. So by the time we got to like Orlando and shit, they like, they putting us right before Bone, and then they like, shit, y'all thought Mo Thug was dead, but, you know, straight off St. Clair, we got the newest edition, Black Money. I'm like, I'm backstage, like, we signed with Bone when that shit happened. Like, you know, like, what the fuck? Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm all like, what the fuck going on? Like, but it was all good because the whole time, you know, I think what it is, you know, they probably feel some kind of way, like not Wish, because Wish don't fuck with me, and he let that be known, and that's cool because I appreciate Wish's realness or whatever. But, you know, me and Wish is cordial and we cool, but, like, he, you know, me and Wish never really fuck with each other like that. I used to tell Wish, man, you ain't even ready to be a rapper yet. Like, you don't even supposed to be on this fucking CD. Wish was a straight nigga. Like, he wasn't really on that shit like we was on that shit. So, you know, with the exception of that, I'm going to say, like, Steve, Stan, and Ant, you know, I know they still got a lot of love for me. So, you know, they probably be trying to promise me shit that ain't about to happen and all kind of shit, or stuff that they in their heart want to make happen, but maybe it's just, you know, time. Everybody got their time with this shit. So sometimes your time, it be up, you know what I'm saying? Or sometimes, you know, the ship has sailed or whatever. Maybe we, you know, our general contract now, maybe we get together, buy some property and make some money or something or whatever. But other than that, like, I think that's what it was. So I kind of knew, like, you know, they all get at me while we was on tour, like, chill, we about to produce your album. Like, some of them really wasn't on that Black Money shit. They just wanted to fuck with me, or some of them was fucking with Black Money. It was just like, you know, Ant was doing his thing, Steve doing his thing. And it's like, the whole thing was, I was having so much fun once we started rocking them shows, and once it was going the way I knew it was supposed to go. It was like God was showing me, like, you could do this shit if you wanted to. Like, I was like 35 at the time or some shit, and I still was smacking them shits. And, like, I mean, we was on, you know what I'm saying? So, the president of Warner Brothers chopping it with me and all kind of shit. I'm like, yeah, we could probably get on or whatever, but I kind of knew it was probably not going to be how I wanted it. I think I was so much of, I ain't even call myself a control freak or a micromanager or nothing, but I used to have control. I used to have shit in check and in order and shit. And I think, like, that's like a big reason why I think, like, me not being there was kind of like how a lot of shit got out of hand. I think had I been there, you know, I think they would have been in like a lot better shape as far as, you know, finances and just all around health and everything, because I think I would have kept us focused more. I know I would have never came back to Cleveland, or no, like not like not come back to Cleveland, but I'm saying I would have kept us on tour and kept us traveling the world until the fucking well was fucking dry, you know what I mean? And then we would have came back home. But while we was hot, I would have kept shit, you know. I think that was like my role in the shit. And I think, like, maybe, you know, once people got on and they had to fuck with me no more, they probably was like, you know, certain people probably was like, shit, I don't even want to deal with Shield in the studio or none of that shit, because I was a bit of a perfectionist, and, you know, I probably demanded a lot, like, to this day, even with what I do with general contracting. I demand a lot from my workers and from, like, myself and, you know, the project that we doing and shit. And it's like, I've always been like that. So in the studio, you know, you make a fucking mistake and you don't stop yourself in the middle of your flow. I used to go the fuck off about shit like that, because I used to think to myself, like, if you heard yourself make a fucking mistake and I heard you make a fucking mistake, why would the fuck would you keep going? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So,
hey, that's a fact. And as you say all this, I'm like, what if, you know, because Bone, it is notoriously known that Bone had a really fucking bad situation for many years after Eazy-E died at Ruthless. The deal wasn't right. Busy's very vocal that, you know, he was fuck this shit because we're not getting paid. And it's crazy to think if K Chill was there, you were wise to these things. You'd been doing this for a while. How different that contract situation could have been with K Chill influence.
I mean, no doubt, because man, I was not about to let shit get out of hand. Like, even to this day, like, I mean, if I truly really wanted to, I probably could just pull a card on some shit like, this my group, you know what I mean? Give me that, let's do, or whatever, But, like, I've asked them on a personal one-on-one, is everything cool? And they said it was. So I left the shit alone. So, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to get in their business. Like I said, I'm old school. You don't really want to fuck with me, then that's fine. I'm going to keep it moving. I'm like Biggie. I'm not going to chase them. I'm going to replace them type dude. So, like, I just stayed the fuck out of this shit. And then, like, in the beginning, it was obvious they didn't want me around. But then when they did want me around, it was like, okay, boom, I'm going to ask y'all. But then I asked, and I'm not going to pry too far with it because I'm not going to get in y'all business. I ain't been in y'all business. And I ain't want to jump in making it seem like I was trying to get back in everybody's business. I was honored that they asked me to go on tour. We rocked that shit, and I kept it right there.
Yeah. Man, I gotta say, and I've now known you years, and in the time that I've had the pleasure of knowing you, I say this to John, that you're a very centered guy. It's been important to you through this whole process with us to make sure that people were just hearing your story and that it wasn't presented like K Chill's bitter. Because I think that you handle yourself and the situation so good in comparison to there's many people walking this earth that are in the position that you're in, or that could be in the position that you're in, and not handle it the way that you do. So I think it's commendable. Man, we've jumped all over the place, and I'm sorry for making your story be told all out of place, but I do have some questions that I want to make sure before we wrap up that people find out about, including some, stuff about Black Money, because Black Money was also important to, Ohio and Cleveland hip hop. One of the things that I was researching and found out was, Black Money made it was a huge, pledge that, they wanted to put back into the communities. Something that you guys said that if you did something in a city that you wanted to be able to donate back to the city and schools. Were you ever able to get Black Money to a point where you guys were able to assist the community like that?
Well, I mean, from the jump, every show, we gave back half of that money to something. Like, I mean, literally,
wow,
things from helping with funerals to whatever. Like, I even have threw a collection plate to the audience on some shit. Somebody died and needed some money for a funeral. But yeah, I mean, from the jump street, it was never anywhere how I would wanted it, or of course we didn't blow up, so it was never thousands or nothing. It's liable to be like a couple hundred at a show or anything. But yeah, from the very concept, we always gave back money to the community. Also, Black Money music was free. We only sold merchandise. You know what I mean? We sold merchandise and tickets to shows. So, like, we gave the music away because we wanted people to hear what the fuck we was talking about.
I think it's almost more commendable that you can say that while only making a couple hundred, you guys still made sure to give half away to the community. When you're making thousands, it's easy to give away a couple thousand, but when you have that many guys, working together and to still say, hey, we want to give part of that away, that's a commendable credit. It says about a lot about you and who you are and what, Cleveland and just, I would say the poverty-stricken neighborhoods that you know about, they really mean a lot to you. And I think that's commendable. I saw at one point you had a really nasty accident while playing, I think, softball that even required surgery. Was that during, like, Black Money or was that after?
That was during. that was after the tour, and that was kind of I'm gonna say the nail in the coffin of Black Money because Black Money, everybody in Black Money was like 10 years younger than me, so they all are doing projects now and kept it moving. And like I said, we even doing a new Black Money album now, but after that accident, I was actually pitching, and then the ball came right back, smacked me in the mouth, like knocked all my front out, and broke both bones, like in the front of my face or whatever. And then like I was wired up. I had to kind of somewhat learn how to talk again to a certain extent. Like I always had a mean ass mumble, but now I got like even worse of a mumble or whatever. But yeah, so like it took me a minute. The first thing I recorded after that shit, I was sounding like fucking Sylvester the cat and shit, like slurping S's and shit all over. And it was just all bad. I had to just refocus, and then I just kind of like focused more on my tools and just like getting my construction game all the way where I needed to get it. And after that, but like thank God I'm still here. It's people die from that same shit. People never the same from that same shit. I got a little memory loss and like a worse mumble, but beyond that, I'm still here.
Like you said, a huge, you're absolutely a blessed guy, Chris. I mean, and I think that's one of the, that story is one of the things that tells that. You can tell this bone story forever, and people could look at it both ways. But like you said, people die from that. To be able to live through that is huge. You had just mentioned just now that you're working on something, Black Money. Is that are you working on music still today, or what's the situation there?
Well, yeah, we actually started working on the new Black Money CD. It's in the works. And then I actually started working on some little solo shit, like while I was in there doing that too, and I kind of just been experimenting with some shit though. I'll send you some shit you can put up if you want. If people want to check out Black Money shit, it's Black Money shit on YouTube. I think VIP is on there, which won our Song of the Year. It's a lot of shit on there. Mick Boogie, DJ Mick Boogie, or you can just go by DJ Mick. Now he's on you can catch him like on Bing commercials and shit. He actually did our first, let's see, I forgot, what we do, 2 or 3 mixtapes. I know it's 2 for sure. It might have been 3. I can't really recall, but he did the mixtapes and this shit on there. You can hear me at my maddest at Bone, sending subliminals right back to Bone. But you can hear me, it was like that was the other thing too. When they got on, they were sending so many subliminals to me, and I was just like in the basement on 94th and St. Clair thinking to myself, like, why am I on these niggas' minds so bad right now? Like damn, y'all on MTV, BET every day. I wouldn't even, if you don't want to fuck with me, why are you still thinking about me every day? So like they didn't send a lot of subliminals. Like y'all Bone fans. So I'm a Bone fan. Let me say that. Like I definitely always knew my niggas could make it, but y'all probably more in depth know the little subliminals. But anytime you hear them say chill or some shit like that, listen to that shit because they probably was sending subliminals or whatever.
Yeah, that's crazy because I was gonna ask when you mentioned Thuggish Ruggish Bone and you actually quoted them saying chill, better bring your weapon when steppin'. That's a K-Chill reference right there. That goes with that story you told earlier.
Oh yeah. I'll tell you a funny story though. When we was on tour, when that part came up, I was right on the speaker on the side of the stage. Like I was on stage, but I was just like laid back with a bottle of hen or something. And Steve, when that part came up, Lazy he changed it and looked at me like with a little, that little fucking elfish ass smile he got. He got to turn around and looked at me like with a little wink, like I was like, okay, it's all good. So the shit be funny and shit. And like I said, I don't hold no grudge. We was all the same. You know, let me say this, man. Let me definitely say this. The same way I said that when I was on and I probably was not paying the correct amount of attention to what my friends probably was feeling, you know, I can't be a hypocrite and then in turn hold them guilty of the same charge. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, when they was on and they decided they wasn't gonna fuck with Chill or whoever in the camp said that and whatever vote was made or whatever, you know, that shit might have had some people handcuffed and some people whatever. And, you know, at that point it is what it is. I can't hold nobody accountable for shit. We was all kids. The devil infiltrates shit and he like to fuck with your feelings and get you all in your feelings and shit. And shit like that happened. And as kids, you know, we grown men, the same shit happen right now at 40 years old or whatever, I'm gonna be like, oh, that's on you. But as kids, you know, it's hard to see when you get infiltrated like that and getting kind of directed to do not the right shit. So, you know, like I say, I never got the real answers for why that shit was like that. And at this point, I don't even think it is no real answers. It's just, you know, a grown man can sit back and kind of decipher the situation for what it was and just, you know, it is what it is. But, you know, I can't hold them accountable for nothing what happened in my career because if I wanted to really make it rapping, I could have been like every other fucking coat tail rider or whatever and motherfuckers that got on for a minute from knowing them or any of that shit. I probably could have easily got on with just the facts of the matter. Like, I produce these guys. I'm just as good or whatever. Check me out, you know. But I didn't, you know what I mean? So at the end of the day, God had another plan for me. And, you know, this shit ain't over with yet. We still, like I say, I think it's all part of an even bigger picture that's yet to play out.
Beyond the